I think our last question, and that's from Deputy Thomas Pringle, number 13. Deputy Pringle.
Thank you, Cancora. Minister, this question relates to the recent or the imminent adoption of the CETA trade agreement and the removal of tariffs on the importation of live lobster and live scallops from Canada contained in that agreement, and the potential impact that it could have on lobster prices here in Ireland.
I believe that free trade agreements are very important to Ireland, given our status as a small, open, exporting economy. The negotiation of access to new markets historically has been a big driver of economic development, particularly in the food sector. I believe that this will continue to be the case in the future and will be crucial to the achievement of the objectives outlined in Foodwise 2025. Canada is a sizable market with high purchasing power and is the most developed economy with which the European Union has negotiated a free trade agreement so far. The Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, with Canada will restore the level playing field for European businesses in Canada in comparison to Canada's North American Free Trade Agreement partners, who have benefited from preferential treatment in Canada since 1994. In relation to seafood, I am satisfied that CETA represents an overall balanced agreement. Both the European Union and Canada will fully eliminate all tariffs on seafood products. Some 76.4% of Canada's imports from the European Union already enjoy a most favoured nation tariff at 0%, and Canada agreed to eliminate the remaining tariffs upon entry into force of CETA. The EU agreed to eliminate 95% of its tariffs on these products upon entry into force of CETA, and 4.5% of tariffs within 3, 5 or 7 years. In 2016, Ireland exported 4.2 million worth of seafood to Canada, while we imported 2.5 million. With the elimination of tariffs, there is an opportunity for Ireland's seafood producers to further develop exports to Canada. In relation to lobster, I understand that almost all lobster caught by Ireland's inshore fishermen are exported to European Union markets. The market price is thus likely to continue to be determined by EU markets. I understand that buyers recognise lobster of European Union origin as a separate and higher value seafood product than Canadian or US lobster. CETA is unlikely to affect this price differential. In relation to scallops, I understand that prices vary from one year to the next depending on world production. World demand has been growing in recent years, particularly in Asia, and that growth has been forecast to continue. In those circumstances, market prices for scallops should remain healthy.
Pringle.
Minister, the situation will be that already the EU imports over 8,000 tonnes of lobster from the US, which has a tariff regime of somewhere between 8 and 15% at the moment. So a zero tariff regime on the importation of lobster from Canada will actually impact directly on Irish fishermen in terms of the prices that they can achieve for the lobster. So if the amount of lobster that's actually been imported into the EU will increase significantly because the price is reduced, that is going to have an effect on the prices that fishermen can achieve for their catches. So I would love to see how you justify the fact that it won't make any impact on prices when the logic is that it's going to increase supply from that market. Currently, Canada doesn't import lobster into the EU because of the fact of the tariffs. So with the removal of the tariffs, that opens up a huge market for them. And in many cases, given that the price of food is price-driven, it's going to be driven by price as to the market share that they'll achieve. So I'd just love to see what your justification is in relation to it not having any impact.
Please.
I'd make first of all the general point that as an exporting nation that needs to get over 90% of everything we produce, whether it's in dairy, beef or indeed substantially in the seafood area as well, to market, trade agreements are beneficial to us, not at any cost, but balanced negotiated trade agreements have benefited enormously, and the market access that we have got as part of an EU membership have just been enormously beneficial to us. And in principle, therefore, I'm in favour of trade agreements. Now, the devil is in the detail. And the other point which I would make in respect of seafood, the global demand for seafood is almost insatiable. And markets demand for high-quality seafood that our industry is capable of meeting. I think we'll always deliver a reasonable price. Obviously, trade is a two-way street, and there are opportunities in the context of any trade agreement for your partners also. But I mean, there is trade already between Ireland and Canada. And there are opportunities for us now in the context of that trade agreement to increase our foothold in Canadian markets. But there is also opportunities for Canadians to come in this direction. But I've no doubt, given our marketing operations, the commitment of our industry to a high-quality product, the commitment of organisations like Bord Bia, that we can navigate a successful outcome to this. And in fact, in the context of trade agreements, in that I will be, as part of kind of the continuing efforts in my department in terms of market access opportunities, I will be going on a trade mission to the US and Canada next month, and I've no doubt that seafood will form an important opportunity of that. We can't say we're in favour of all the things we get in other markets, but we don't want anybody coming into our markets. That's just contrary to the spirit of trade agreements.
Thank you, Minister. Tom Stigan is there le question kun na television to be agus mara. No, the time is up.
I thought you'd get to complete the question itself.
No, it's not. It's not mastermind. I'm afraid you may have started, but you have
certainly not mastermind anyway. Can't go to that for sure.
So, time is up. Yeah. Tá de dul reigenis go dtí ceistan ar ábhar ratha tá ronaithe go ahead to